Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. I am the Wee Book Lady and today I'm going to be looking at books and their film adaptations. So what I want to talk to you first about is some of the stuff that obviously I have read rather than, because there's millions and millions of ones that we could possibly look at, so I'm going to focus on the ones that I've read against the films that I've seen, because there's some book adaptations where I haven't read the book but I've seen the film, and I haven't seen the film but I've read the book, vice versa. So I stick to the ones that I've seen both so I can make a kind of comparison exercise for that. So the first one I want to talk to you about, and I'll look at the ones that I particularly enjoyed first off. So my favourites, definitely, honourable mention for me has to be The Green Mile. Stephen King book, obviously, he wrote this book and it was made into a film adaptation that stars Tom Hanks, and not only is it a really, really good film, it's one of my favourites, but the book is just fantastic as well. The film adaptation really, really sticks very well to the storyline in the book, because as you know, with some film adaptations really can vary from the original storyline, so it's quite interesting to see how well they follow the book's storyline, and the way the characters are described, the description of events and the whole storyline is just absolutely fantastic, and it really came to life in film mode as well as in the book. The descriptions and the overall storyline were very, very accurate, and both, in my opinion, both were just absolutely fantastic. Green Mile was and still is one of my favourite books and or films adaptations, so definitely worth a mention. So another one I would like to mention that I absolutely loved was The Silence of the Lambs. Now, the book was written by Robert Harris. In this instance, I did actually see the film first before I read the book, and it was one of these films that I was warned that it might be too scary, it might be too much for me, because I was quite young when I watched it. Not too young, I was a teenager, early teens, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I couldn't believe how the story changed and adapted, and that was the first kind of foray into the kind of psychopathic mind and cannibalism and all of that stuff. That was the first kind of foray into any of that I had really seen, so I found it so interesting, so that enticed me to then read the book, and as I suspected it would be, the book was even better, if anything. And with as books are, there's always more rich in details. They always give the situations more fluidity, and there's more goes on, and you capture more details and things, and really in perspectives and look in different ways that you might not catch in a film. But I have to say, and it didn't win Oscars for no reason, it was a really, really fantastic film. The choice of cast was absolutely spot on, and it was brilliant. But the book itself just gave you that extra level of details, going into the histories and the backgrounds, and giving you that bit more set scene that you can't get in films. But 100%, I absolutely loved it. Ones I didn't like so much include, and this might be a controversial opinion, but I didn't love The Shining. The book I enjoyed. I did enjoy the book. It really took you down that really freaky, mind bending. You saw generally the main character slowly lose his grip on reality, if he ever had it in the first place, but then with all the scary goings on and everything else that's happening within that. Most definitely I found that to be, but book wise I really did enjoy it, and it was very creepy, so it really gave us the right impression, but didn't love the film. Mostly, and this is maybe a little bit petty on my part, but the lady who played the mother, I think it's Shelley Long, I've got no hate for her whatsoever. I just felt that she just didn't love that part, and I have since seen interviews with her, and I think I've been right in that assessment, that she didn't love that either, and I don't think she liked how she was treated, and I think that came across in the acting. It was hard to watch in some ways, because she was just so pathetic. The way she was just like a little pathetic flaking flower the whole film, and I was just like, oh my god, get a grip on yourself. it annoyed me to the stage where it kind of wasted the film for me. So didn't love that one. Another one that I really quite like the adaptations for, and there's been many, is Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. The one I can remember mostly that I've seen that film adaptation for was the one that starred Winona Ryder. I really did enjoy that version. I thought it was quite well done. I read Little Women again, late childhood, early teens, and I absolutely adored it, loved it. So any time I saw any adaptations for it, I had high expectations, no pun intended there. And with those, I have to say that I wasn't really disappointed. It was good, enjoyed it. A lot of people, I think, place books, the classics, in pedestals, and they set them up for really high expectations, but I really enjoyed that one, and it was an easy watch, stuck to the storyline, so nothing I can really complain about there, and said it's one of the ones I really enjoyed. The Secret Garden is another one. I absolutely loved this. And this one, again, I saw the film first. I had the film in my collection from early childhood, and I really enjoyed the film. It was always one of my favourites, and having read the book a wee bit later on, but still in childhood, I really thought it. Not only did it keep to the story quite well, but it made things make more sense when you watch the film. So it gives you those extra details. Slightly differs, but it does stick to the story mostly very well. But books give characters more history. They give them more background. You feel like you know them better, and you can build that relationship with them slightly better. So 100%, I definitely think that. I said both the film and the book were really good, plus the actors and the actresses in it were spot on. I love Maggie Smith, and she played the matron character extremely well in it, and she was just spot on. And the blossoming relationship between both Dickon and Mary and her cousin that grew on there, it was I loved the storyline and I loved the book. It was nice to see the film and visual representation as well. Another one I would like to mention as well is The Help. Now, that was one of the first times that I read a book quite early after its release. I can sometimes be really slow before I catch on to a book. So having picked that up quite early on, I picked it up at the airport on my travels actually, and read it, and I just absolutely loved it. And you can probably remember from the storyline of The Help, the aspects in there. But one particular scene sticks out, and I love the fact that they portrayed that in the film as well. They chose the cast again very well. I liked who they chose to cast in the film, and when you read a book, and I don't think this is just me, you picture people in your head. You either choose actresses that you can, or actors that you think will suit the parts, or you try and picture somebody that you know loosely with those interpretations. So having read the book first, every single one of the characters went far off with my kind of imagined perfect person for that. So I think that helped with my enjoyment of it as well. And again, didn't stray too far from the storyline. Really portrayed what the book was hoping it to, and I absolutely loved the sentiments in The Help, and that right from the beginning, from that little girl getting told how worthy she was from her maid, to grown up, to really pushing to make these people equal and get them some rights and be appreciated as people instead of slaves and things. It was the voice that she gave, that she tried to give them, and the pushing against those things, expectations of society for her in that time. It was just, I loved every bit of it, and I would recommend that one to anybody if you haven't read The Help. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, I've got a list of some other quick ones I'd like to mention as well, just as again, seen films and read the books, so adaptations. My Sister's Keeper. Now, that one threw me for six. I made the mistake if you would call that, of watching the movie first. So I watched the movie and I was breaking my heart. I found it absolutely sad, but it was the way it was. And I was like upset, but I was enjoyed it. I then read the book, and without ruining it for anybody who hasn't read it, the ending is completely different. It's totally different. So I was like, oh my goodness, when I couldn't quite believe it, to be quite honest with you. When I was thrown for six, and I was so shocked. I was just like, for about a couple of days after it, I just kept thinking about it. Even now, reflecting back on it, I couldn't believe it. That I think because I had seen the film first, and the expectation had been completely and utterly changed. I was like, whoa. But definitely really, really good. I enjoyed both the film and the book again. They were done really well, and in that regard, I do think 100%. I would say read the book first actually, and then watch the film if you're going to do either or either, because the book packs a punch on its own, and then the film gives you a kind of nicer alternative, if anything. I don't even know if it is a nicer alternative actually. Now there's like slight spoiler, but none of them have a happy ending, but I don't know which one's worse. You can give me your opinions in the comments if you want, what one you thought was worse, but for me, I just like wow. So honourable mentions obviously to the Harry Potter and the Twilight franchises as well. Books are massively better. You can't, it's so true what you say, you can't cover anywhere near the same amount of stuff in the films as you could with the books. It's just not possible. The books are like a mountain and the films are like a hill in comparison. There's no comparison really. There's some things, like you say, in the Harry Potter series that bugged me, that were missed out, that characters who I would like to have seen in there that didn't get put into the film versions. But the books, like I say, will always be. I'm a total Potterhead and will always be. So for me, the books will always win. But I said I enjoyed the films. We had to see them, same as everybody else. But they said they don't even skim the surface. And again, possible controversial opinion. I hated the third film, and it was just for one pure simple reason. As at one point in the scenario of the third film, Hermione does something to change the course of time. She does not do this in the book. She wouldn't have done it. It's against her character. She wouldn't have done that. And I'm just like, why did you make her do that in that film? And then she's portrayed so differently in the books and in the films. Like, so's Ron, actually, to be honest with you. Some of the things really annoyed me. Hermione's always the heroine in the films, so she's not necessarily always in the books. She's there, and she's part of the gang, and she's very much a big contributor. But some of the heroic things that Ron does gets taken away from him in the films and given to her, which isn't really fair. But again, we can talk about that another time. I enjoyed the Twilight books. And they are for what they are, you know. Again, films, all right. Some of the acting has been kind of panned and things, but I enjoyed it. I'm easily amused. They mostly stuck to the scenarios and stuff, and know they've had their times and stuff, but I enjoyed them. Stand By Me, I've got a note about Stand By Me as well. This is actually another one by Stephen King. It's a short story called The Body. And for a short story, it covers a lot of things, but the film is just absolutely fantastic. It takes a short story and really brings it into life and makes it into something else. It's become a bit of a cult classic in film, and I think that is justified. It's really amazing film. It's the boys and kind of on the cusp of adulthood, and they go on this one adventure, and the bonding that goes on through this exercise really takes them to a new place and makes them think about a lot of things and discover new things and get into a bit of trouble as kids tend to do. But it's definitely worth a watch if you've never seen the Vernon the Body. It's got a young Will Wheaton in it as well. He's the main character in that, and the late River Phoenix as well. He's also in it. It's really fantastic. You'll probably recognise the whole young cast actually. Now, there's a few more that I said I'd like to mention as well. So Gone Girl as well quickly. That one, enjoyed the book. Film was alright. Again, these type of books, they build up and build up to, and then they get to this suspenseful moment at the end. The film was more or less covered the same kind of criteria as the book would, but again, you can't compare with details and things, and the build up in the book was much better. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I absolutely adored this, both the film and the book actually. I read the book, and it was one of the few books that I did shed a tear, and it did make me cry because it was quite an experience. But the film as well packs a punch on its own. I think they did it really quite well, and the cast again were really quite fantastic, and they handled it really well. It deals with mental health issues and breakdown and trauma, and certain areas that might be hard for some people to read about and read on, but it really I feel like it covers it really well, and I really enjoyed it. The other ones, just quickly, I've read as well the Netflix films To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is now the trilogy. I really enjoyed that. I like a cheesy wee young adult romance, and so that was wholesome. It was really nice. I loved the character Lara Jane. She was great. I liked her quirks about baking, and I liked her relationship with her sisters. I liked how she experienced loss, and how her sisters getting into these scenarios just purely because they cared about her, and then her journey on through that, and her relationships built from that. It was both. They said I feel, and I know the author Jenny Han had a hand in how the series were adapted for TV. So I think that's essentially why they are so good and so true to how she visioned them as they are. So definitely that one is one of the up there in the ones that I really enjoyed. And The Fault in Our Stars as well. That's both a hard read and a hard watch, that one. I like the choice of cast in that one. However, the book itself is again more details, gives more descriptions, pulls you in more. I feel like I can't say too much in case I give away too much of the plot line for this one, but essentially both the characters have either had cancer or have cancer, and or are close to dying or dying, and it describes how the relationship is built up with a bit of a stonker of an ending, and really surprised, like an odd surprise on part ending. And yeah, it's sad. It is sad. It packs a punch, but it is a lovely read, and it's very worthwhile. And I'd say the film adaptation is as well, but be prepared to get your hankies out, because it is quite sad. Now I think I've got my wee list here, so I think that's me covered essentially. The one of them. There will be many more that I've missed, but those are the ones that popped into my head anyway. And definitely said that when it comes to one of the ones, The Silence of the Lambs and The Green Mile are by far and will always be ones that I absolutely loved it. There's not often that sometimes like liberties can be taken with films, and they can change things, and they just can't get that same level of detail, of atmosphere that you can find in a book at times. But in some of these films they really have done quite a spectacular job, and other times it failed absolutely miserably. I'd love to know some of your opinions on some of the film versus book adaptations that you find, any ones that you particularly enjoyed, any ones you totally hated. Is there ones that I haven't mentioned that you would like, that you would recommend, and I'll have a go and have a read and have a watch of them to see how these find. I've read quite a few of, they said, the Stephen King ones, and I've seen a fair few of the adaptations as well. Not all of them, most of them alright. Like It, for example, I have seen that one as well. Can I compare the book to the film? There's no possible way the book's this size. There's absolutely no chance that you're going to get that level of detail in there. And plus there's now 2 adaptations. There's the older kind of TV novella one, and there's the films versions, the adult and the child film versions. Again, they were all right. Didn't skim the surface in terms of detail, in terms of any of that stuff. So I know a lot of authors absolutely hated their film adaptations of things. Like, I know Roald Dahl, he wasn't a fan of any of the films that were made of his books, and then there's a lot of the versions where authors don't get a lot to say once they sell the rights and stuff. So I'd love to hear from you anyway. If you've got any films or recommendations, any book recommendations, book to film recommendations, I would love to hear from and I add them to my list. But anyway, thanks very much for listening to me today. If you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel to support me, like this video, and I will see you again in the next one. Thanks, guys.